Good morning. It is 9:03, and we will call the November 19th Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order. I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As you can see, I am not the mayor. He's not here today, so Mark and I are in attendance though, so we should be able to get through the agenda. Any public comments so far?
Nothing
Mr.
online.
Otis?
Anybody here present today for public comment? Didn't sign up?
It looks like, okay. Clerk Treasurer.
Can we get the approval of minutes also?
Oh, that's right.
Thank
I
you.
skipped right over those. Thank you for correcting me. You don't have to do it in an echo next time, though. Can I have an approval for last meeting's minutes?
I move we approve the minutes.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Now it's your turn, Courtney. Thank you.
Okay, we have Civil City Payroll, Civil City Payroll in the amount of $532,007.12. I already have a loud voice, so this is embarrassing.
Can you turn that
I
off?
want to try Nick's microphone instead.
Oh, thanks. Okay, $532,007.12 for Civil City Payroll.
I move we approve the Civil City payroll.
I will make a second motion to approve that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed. Motion carries unanimously.
We have Civil City Claims in the amount of $934,412.15.
I move we approve the Civil City claims.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
We have water claims in the amount of $785,487.24.
I move we approve the water claims.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
And finally, sewage claims in the amount of $540,743.66.
I move we approve the sewage claims.
I will second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Also carries unanimously. Another
Yep.
possible request, Courtney?
Sure. I emailed the board last week. We're requesting to close utility billing office and the clerk treasurer's office for 2 hours on December 10th from 12 to 2. City Council, after our audit, gave us a monetary stipend, donated it to the team to take them and do something nice. It's been tough to get everyone together, as you can imagine, outside of work hours. So we're asking, as long as we work with Jess Bolgeric for outreach and marketing to ensure that our customers will know ahead of time and still be taken care of, if we can take a 2-hour period on December 10th to take them out in celebration of all the successes we've had this year.
That's great. Motion?
I move we approve the 2-hour shutdown from 12 to 2, December 10th.
I would second that. Any further discussion or questions for Courtney?
Just congratulations on a great performance this year, especially through the audit.
Absolutely.
We have a great team. The credit goes, everyone works so hard to keep things moving. So the credit goes to the team.
Those are brutal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, department head reports. We'll just go right around the room. McMinnick, do you have anything to share? No? Jerry?
Nothing to report today, thank you.
Just a report that TCB is installing grinder pumps out on McClung Road, hoping to wrap that up before the weather gets too bad. And the Kubota that the board approved got delivered today, so that was kind of nice to see that.
Oh, a new toy. Nice. Tim, water?
Good morning and thank you. Crews are finishing up on Park Street for the Hunters Woods redevelopment, so we should be done with Park here real quick. They're moving inside the the actual development itself, the triangle, and then we'll be moving on to Severs Road.
So will all the roads kind of around the development, will they be open then over the winter? Because I know there's been some
Yeah, that's
closures.
what I was wondering.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'll have the roads open. If we start on Severs, there'll be enough time to get at least binder down asphalt instead of surface, with talking to Reith Riley. So there might be a possibility that we're going to hold off on the extension from Genesis to 100 on Severs till the spring. So we'll still have a feed of water, 8-inch main feeding the development. There's not going to be a whole lot of usage over there over the winter. So we're kind of playing that all by ear, how it trickles down there. So we do not want Severs Road closed this winter. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all I have this morning.
Okay, great, thank you. Jess Blajor, nope, just Jess. Just Jess.
Jarek.
It's the seat. It's not my fault. Okay. Do you have anything for us, Andrea, for HR?
Not today, but next meeting I most definitely will.
Great, thank you. Mike Freeze, Streets.
We're still in the first round of leaf pickup. We're over in the terrace area today. And then the tree got postponed to put up till Tuesday of next week.
Just in time.
Hey, Mike, I get asked about the leaf pickup, and I mentioned it at the city council meeting last night. It's an imperfect science because they fall at different times, but we've had a lot of rain. Does that make it a lot harder to pick up the leaves?
With the vac it does, but the loader crew, not with the loader.
Got it.
Yeah, they use a gigantic have you ever been there
Yes,
when they've been
yeah,
loading
yeah,
yours
actually,
up?
it's
I
not
could
near
hardly
your
get
house,
out.
actually,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, they do a fantastic job and they get it down, all the way down. There's hardly anything left when they are picking up the leaves, so they do a good job. The leaves just fell way late this year. So, thanks, Mike. Mark Schreiber, Parks.
Morning. With the holiday season upon us, our crew did get Santa Claus put up on the courthouse lawn this morning, so we're in full Christmas mode. And anybody downtown has seen that we've started the installation of the downtown ice rink. That will open up on Friday, November 29th and run through Sunday, January 26th. This year we have combined the skate and the rental together into one lower cost, so it's $6. Skates included to skate down at the ice rink. We're excited. We do the opening weekend. We do have a free skate Friday, which will be available to anybody who want to skate for free the first Friday night. And then that Sunday, December 1st, is a buy one, get one free skate. So if you bring a friend or register with a friend, you get the second one free. We also have opportunities for skate lessons, group outings, and we'd like to thank the Health Foundation of LaPorte for their donation to the skate rink this year as well. So everybody can get information on that or register at laporteparkandrec.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Craig Phillips, City Planning.
Nothing to report.
Bert Leap. We're on a roll.
Nothing today.
Chief.
Last week, our air handler was installed and the old one removed as of Wednesday, and so far, it's working fine.
Let's keep that going. Jeff, code.
Yeah, we're still having people put furniture out by the street. We don't have a dumpster no more, so you've got to pay to get that done. And then also, we have more people parking over sidewalks. It's their responsibility to park on the street. If your driveway goes up and your car has any portion of it blocking the sidewalk, you can't block the sidewalk.
So you'll,
That's both an ordinance, but it's also an ADA issue as well, so, yep.
okay. Keep sidewalks free.
I
Do you have
did.
anything?
I had one question for Nick Minnick's department, because I've been asked, and then I think Councilman Galloway asked last night. We've got this tree grant that's going on, and I think I briefly talked to you, Nick. one, there's, how do we decide where the trees go? The types of trees, maybe if you could explain that. And I know
Yeah.
Tucker's not here, but he,
Yep, yep, for sure. So our tree grant is, it's a really great thing for the city. So we haven't had a way to fund this, and a lot of times we haven't been replacing trees that we've been taking down. So the tree grant helps to get the tree canopy closer to where it needs to be, but then also starts replacing trees that have come down in the past and are currently coming down. We have an arborist who is excellent. Phil Graff is a very, very good arborist. He's, owner of a firm that is the arborist for numerous communities around the whole Chicagoland area. He lives locally, so we kind of get a little extra special attention. Really appreciate him. He has, as part of that grant also, he has updated our inventory. We have an inventory of our trees from around 2017, 18, somewhere in that range. We have now updated that as well. Part of that inventory also identifies potential planting spaces. So trees are selected based on the planting space, and they're selected so they're species based on the area they're going to be planted. Planting spaces are selected based on, kind of making sure there's enough separation between trees and different locations. So there's a lot that goes into to coming up with a planting plan. And then in addition, this grant also looks at targeting specific neighborhoods that have maybe less tree canopy, but are somewhat disadvantaged economically too. So in doing that, tree canopy really does help with utility bills and just a number of things. Obviously right now everybody's dealing with the leaves, and you see a new tree and you might get a little frustrated because you think there's going to be a lot more leaves, and that's a potential. But overall, a healthy tree canopy in the city is a huge asset for us. And like I said, tree planting locations are selected very intentionally, and species are selected very intentionally to try and provide a very diverse, healthy tree canopy across the city.
so one of the questions that I think Mr. Galloway asked was like, some of the areas where we have right-of-way are pretty narrow, so we're not going to plant like a tree that's going to have a significant tree root system.
Correct,
right?
exactly that, yeah. So there
Trying to
are,
explain that, but I'm the lawyer, not the arborist, so I thought
yeah.
thought maybe.
So the width of the tree lawn helps dictate what trees go where, more or less. So we do have a range of species, and we really, they're talking, I think, 50 species in a planting of let's say there's 80 trees. I mean, it's really specific, and the purpose behind that is to protect against, blight and things like that in the future, and that diversity is really key to our canopy. So we love that we used to be the Maple City. People can still call us that, but when we have 90% maple trees, that's a big issue for our city. So
if they get like a disease specific to that tree, then it could kill all of them.
30% would be okay, but we're at like 90%.
Right,
So
right. And then the other question I got, trees are coming down as a part of the Indiana Ave project, is that correct? I'm assuming there's going to be a replanting after that project. So that's a couple years down the, whenever the project's done.
Correct. And the Phil also helped coordinate with INDOT on a tree planting plan for Indiana Ave. Indiana Ave, so a lot of times INDOT doesn't have specific requirements for how trees go back, but we were actually able to implement a plan that looked at the quality of the trees coming out and making sure that an equal quality of trees are going back. So let's say you have a very well-established, 42-inch, maple that is a quality maple, not a... The trees that will replace that are equal from a quality standpoint. So it may be a series of 3-inch caliper trees that don't equal the 42 inches total, but will grow into that same quality too. So there again, a lot of thought is put into this to try and make sure that over the long term, our tree canopy is going to be with us for a long time if we take care of it well, and that's what they did there. So. It'll be sad to see them lose the trees that we're losing, but
Not every tree is being taken down.
No. It is close to 50%.
Okay.
But they have a really great replacement plan that should help, have a quality canopy into the future there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them marked along Indiana already. When are they planned to be taken down?
They wanted to do it all at once this fall, was what they were planning to do. We had originally asked that they take them down with each phase, but
Probably a cost savings
contractually
thing,
wise
yeah,
and everything, it made more sense for them. They're gonna come in and take them out at one time, so.
Yeah, when people
Is
ask
that
me,
gonna happen still yet this year?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
Mr.
yes, yeah.
when people ask me, I try to explain, but again, it's not my area of expertise, and so there's people that spend a lot of time and effort. It's not like you just plop you go to Lowe's and buy a tree. There's a lot of effort that goes into that type of sizing
Yeah.
and the selection of.
And
the
they're
tree.
they're speaking Latin, literally. So
Right.
I mean, it's kind of overwhelming to think about the knowledge they have when it comes to knowing it, of all of the species available, what are the right ones to go in this place, and how does that help the overall canopy? But that's their job. That's what they do.
And I'd say the other piece of it is you have to consider the tree canopy in general. It's not about the snapshot of time that we might be looking at that, in some, right, our lifespan
Yeah.
is generally small compared to like lots of trees, right? But the point is that it's not about the snapshot, it's about overall what the canopy will be like long-term. So even the trees that are being cut down, a 48-inch maple, I imagine, is approaching sort of the twilight of its lifespan, right? And so at some point, it's going to come down, it's going to succumb to disease or whatever, something will happen, or it'll die on its own, and it'll have to be replaced.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that, right, we'll have this snapshot where maybe we lose a lot of trees. It'll probably be visually striking kind of compared to what it's been, but 10, 20 years down the road, like, it will return to a strong state, right? And hopefully sooner, but I appreciate the fact that they're considering the quality of the tree and then what the plantings are going to be, kind of following up, even if they're not in the same exact location.
Yeah, I got gifted a postcard of Virginia Street, and you can look at Virginia Street and pull up the street view, and you can look down the street, and the rendering, the drawing of it, you can see where the houses are, and one of the trees from 1910 or something like that was still there. And you could tell it was still there, and the rest had been removed. And that's an opportunity to come back, and that was always a tree-lined street. The trees created a lot of challenges with our sidewalks and infrastructure. Trees that go back there will hopefully last that long and create a healthy canopy there again. So it is really important for our community to have that resource.
And a lot of them are reaching their twilight, as you said. I live along Woodlawn, and they're coming down on their own, or because, people are recognizing that it's going to come down on their house soon, too. So there's a potential, safety issues is another part of that.
Yeah, we've been really lucky. We've had a couple grants from the Health Foundation, and then this federal grant, and the whole process is moving us towards having the capacity to get past just needing to remove the problem trees and get to the point where we are doing regular maintenance of our entire canopy. So we're getting closer and closer to that constantly, and just being able to, trim trees on an annual basis is going to be able to keep trees a lot longer too. So.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Any other questions, Nick?
Nope.
Nothing else on public?
Nope.
For public comment? All right, you're up next as
Yep,
well.
and if I could have Mark Schreiber come up too real quick. This is an updated agreement between the city of LaPorte and Lalamere and Paragon Marketing. So let me give just a little background on this. You, the Board of Works, previously approved a month or two ago an agreement for this year's Lalamere tournament. There were some updates that needed to be made that were significant enough that Mark and I thought it was important to come back and be approved by the Board of Works again. Paragon Marketing, if you'll recall, was kind of one of the main players in this, the tournament, the first couple of years. They're going to be a party now to the contract, but their role is going to be a little more limited. But Paragon is imperative that we have them involved because they are who gets the games streamed on the ESPN networks. They have the contacts, the connections with ESPN, and it's pretty complicated to make that happen. So Lalamere, after kind of working through this, thought it was best to add them back into the contract. And we had some more, I think there was an additional game that was added, if I recall correctly.
Yes, we'll have one more game on Friday, the 10th.
Yep. So we're recommending approval of this. I think the times in the games are now locked in, and the games can change within the ESPN family of networks, I think, depending on where games fall. For example, I think the first year, one of the Lalamere games was just going to be streamed on the app, and then it got switched to ESPN2, for example, which is a huge, significant upgrade. So it's a little outside of our control, but I don't know, Mark, if you have anything to add on that.
No, I mean, that's exactly it. And Paragon is no longer a tournament partner of ours, but they are the television partner, in part because they also represent the conference. And we have all the, not all the conference schools, but all the schools coming are NIBC or more aptly the EYBL Elite Scholastic teams. So it just outlines their duties and, again, where they derive their revenues. They get the sponsorship revenues strictly from the broadcast, which we do not get. That's just something that's laid out in the contract now.
So the other contract that was signed previously
Didn't
is
have any
void,
reference to
or-
Correct, yeah, it would be, yes, and we'd recommend
So
this
this
one.
isn't on the agreement.
Correct, yep. So in order to, we've learned a lot about how these games end up on ESPN or anywhere else. You've got to have the equipment, the capabilities of, ESPN has certain requirements. You've got to have these types of cameras, and Paragon has that, and then they actually pay ESPN for the space on ESPN, and then they have to turn around and take the risk of filling it with ads to make their money on these games. So
Okay.
I think we counted about 10 guys in the NBA now that have played somewhere.
I think 12, I think is
12.
what the latest count was, yeah.
And
Yeah, it's going to be a great tournament, so we're
Yeah.
excited about it. But the television does make it special. Obviously, it puts LaPorte, Indiana on national television. We have at least one game that'll be on ESPNU at this point, a lot streamed on ESPN Plus. So we're excited about that. And basically, this just brings them in as the TV partner.
So we're kind of shifting from basically it was City of LaPorte and Lalamere most
And
recently.
the Visitors Bureau.
And Visitors
CAB.
Bureau.
Yeah, and it still
This is
is as
pulling-
far as the actual execution of the tournament and the revenues derived from that. This just, again, we always knew we'd bring Paragon in as the broadcasting partner of the tournament, but it just made sense to all partners to actually incorporate that into the full contract.
Your contract. Motion to approve.
So moved.
I will second that. Any further discussion?
This has the mayor's signature on it. Are we waiting? Is this approval for the mayor to sign? Or,
I think we could strike it and have Jess or yep.
Great.
Yep.
Good question. Any other questions?
I think anything approved today that one of them can sign, any contracts that are approved here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Mr. Cook?
Good morning to the Board of Public Works. Good morning, Clerk Treasurer Courtney Parthune. Happy to be here today. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. So I feel a little bit like maybe a broken record. I know we've brought a number of agreements in front of both this body, the City Council, the Redevelopment Commission, regarding the Bella Largo project, but I believe this is the final one. So at your last meeting, you approved the infrastructure reimbursement agreement. There was a question at the meeting, Jess, you may have brought it up, just about the timing of that. That sort of interplays with the document that you have in front of you, which is the interlocal agreement. So I'll try and lay this out as succinctly as I possibly can. The project is being built in an allocation area, TIF district, that is was previously the county. As we annexed the property into the city and formed our own allocation area, the county's allocation area goes away. However, because taxes are collected in arrears, they have existing funds that are in that, and they will make one additional collection this year for taxes paid from last year. And so the point of that is there's some resources there at the county level that ultimately need to be spent within that area. Appreciate Matt Reardon, who runs the Office of Economic Development for the county, and then Randy Novak, who is the president of the Redevelopment Commission for the county. We've had some ongoing discussions about how we best put those funds to use. You all have seen, we've worked on a number of projects together, that being the city and the county have worked on a number of projects together here recently, and increased some of the residential options are out there. But in regards to this project, we're also working together to offset some of the infrastructure costs that are necessary to make the project a reality. So you approved $134,000 and some change in ARP funds at the last agreement. In addition to that, there was $76,720.57 that was potentially could come from the Redevelopment Commission of the county to support that infrastructure. We did request that at the county's redevelopment commission meeting last week. They did approve that, although their preference is to use this interlocal agreement, which guides the partnership between the city and the county. So appreciate Attorney Hagenow, who works on behalf of our redevelopment commission, Attorney DiMartino, who represents the county redevelopment commission, working together to craft this agreement. There's no deviation in the terms that we discussed, but ultimately this would be the agreement that requests funding from the county RDC to the city RDC, in turn then allows the infrastructure reimbursement agreement to be executed, and those funds will eventually make their way to the developer once the public roadway is constructed, inspected by our engineer, and ultimately we take over ownership of that at the, close to the end of the project. So the agreement requires the county RDC to release the funds within 30 days of the effective date of this agreement, which will be the date that the last signature is placed on the document, which would be the redevelopment commission meeting next Monday. So I'd ask that you sign this agreement today, forward it to the redevelopment commission for their signature. Hopefully that was clear. I'm happy, if it's not, I'm happy to try and elaborate on any item that I might have missed.
The county will pay directly to the developer.
County will pay to our redevelopment commission, who will then release those funds in accordance with the infrastructure reimbursement agreement, which you approved at the last meeting and the redevelopment commission has already approved as well.
To the developer.
And back to the allocation area. So fundamentally, it's an accounting move, right, to the redevelopment commission that will then go back into the allocation area.
And then eventually to the developer.
Right, yeah.
Once they've built the road to our standard.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Any further questions or discussion? Thank you for taking time to go one point at a time, because it is a little tricky.
This is the last one, so, thank you.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Jerry Jackson, looks like you've got a few items.
I've got McClung Road, pay request number 4 in the amount of $53,848.85. That would bring the contract to 75%. They're actually further than that. They kind of remobilized and got putting in the grinder pumps, and they haven't got a chance to get the pay request and everything ready. So the percent completion will jump markedly for the next pay request. I'd recommend approval.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll make a second. Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. McClung Road connection?
Customers who have septic systems and don't have opportunity to hook to sewer because there wasn't city sewer, like the customers on McClung Road, in our sewer connection ordinance, they're allowed to connect to the sewer if they do it within 6 months with only a $50 connection fee, rather than the system development fee. So the system, effectively, the system development fee is waived as long as they connect within 6 months. The intent was there that they didn't have opportunity to hook because there wasn't city sewer, and the intent was to encourage them to hook up soon. For McClung Road, where the project's finishing right here when we're coming into bad weather, so 6 months makes it kind of tough for them to get hooked up. 6 months puts them, where, at April? Yeah, and I was just looking for an
really
extension
close
to June 1, so we can give them a little bit more time. They'll probably, some of them are gonna get hooked yet this year, but some will want to hook in the spring.
So basically, just asking for us to approve, just kind of extending that time period for
Yep.
those that can't quite make it,
Yep.
and then, okay,
Motion to approve?
so moved.
Second. Any further questions? This is a huge savings for the residential owners.
It is a huge, yeah, it's $1,100 is pretty good, and it's generated a lot of interest. I've had people call me, oh, no, I'm not gonna be able to get hooked up, I can't get a contractor, I'm gonna have to pay that $1,100, so yes.
Okay, great. So everybody should be on board by then, or the interest will be there. Fantastic.
And the plus for the city is that we have more connections along the road, more of that infrastructure in terms of sewage that we're in charge of and managing and maintaining.
And this project in particular, there's houses right along the lake shore. We're also protecting lake water quality.
Right.
Do you know, do you have a sense of how many of the homes along there that are potential, that have the potential to connect, that are interested in connecting?
I think all but one have signed the easement to put put the tank on the property. We'll see how they follow up to actually make the connection, that they need us, so I don't know that answer, but all but one, and I think it's 12, I'm not sure what the number is, have signed the easement, so.
And if they're, anytime after, say, June 1, provided we approve this, if they want to hook up, then the sewer will be there, right? And once then if they want to hook up, then they're responsible for those development fees?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is much more expensive. I think I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Engineering for Pine Lake, Ave?
I've got a proposal to design facilities for the Johnson Road US 35 Severs roundabout. This is an NDOT project, and it would be designing improvements to the sanitary sewer system in that area, our lift station, the existing lift station, the extension up Severs Road to there's a couple parcels to the east. It would also look at the capacity needed to go further north. We've made provisions to extend the sewer further north and other projects, also down Johnson Road and around that northwest side of the lake. So this is kind of a design, but it's also part of, hey, how big do we need to make this for future? So I'd recommend approval of the agreement between Butland, Fairman, and Seaford and the city of LaPorte for the Johnson Road roundabout.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll make a second. Any further discussions or questions for
Just
Jerry?
anticipated timing?
I don't know the NDOT's timing. I didn't mention that this is NDOT's contractor,
so-
our designer, so the project our improvements would just be folded right into NDOT's project, so it would be seamless was the intent.
Okay.
Kind of an important point.
Very similar to Indiana Avenue where,
Yes.
they can kind of include things in the contract and likely do all the work at one time. So.
I don't know the schedule, do you know?
And I don't. It was what they call a bench project. So essentially, they had a timeline, and if it didn't get funded in, I think 26, then it'd be 27. If not 27, 28, and then 28 for sure. But I had heard that they had funding attached to the project now in a specific year, but I haven't gotten an update on that. So it's probably within the next 2 to 3 years, is my guess.
Okay, and this agreement then would be valid throughout that window, even if it does get delayed?
Yeah.
They're doing design now.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
bench projects, they do the design up front and have them ready to to go,
Okay.
but they may not have construction dollars allocated to them. So essentially, they're getting a project ready to go, and then if other projects don't get awarded or drop off or move out, then that project is ready. But then they also kind of guarantee it within a certain time period. So they do the design now, and it'll be good now, and then whenever the funds are available, they'll.
Gotcha, it's like having
Yeah.
Plan Bs and everything ready and
Yeah.
order.
Okay.
Bench projects, good to know. Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And wastewater hauler discharge for
Yeah.
Huff.
This is my last item here. It's just a renewal of Huff Septic's wastewater discharge permit. They haul septage. Just a note that we're in the middle of negotiating our new NPDS permit, and IDEM has got some requirements where when our new permit becomes valid, we'll have to request permission to get truck waste in, as we do now. That wasn't previously. It was done. They're aware of it, but there wasn't a formal process to get permission from IDEM. So that's coming up next year. They also will require we pull samples from every single load and store those for a time period, which can get kind of onerous, but we can put the burden on the haulers. And that way, if there's a problem with the treatment plant from some kind of toxic material being hauled in, we have a sample. We can go and try to identify what that substance was. So that's coming next year, but I would recommend approval of Huff Septic discharge permit.
Okay. So moved.
Second. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Motion
you.
carries. Thanks, Jerry. Nick Minnick?
The first item I have is the local tracks railroad agreement. City is signatory on this. This is something that's been negotiated and worked on by NDOT and Norfolk Southern. It's gone back and forth, and we really have a minor role in it based on our project, but we are signatory. I would recommend approval of the agreement. We received this morning the absolute final agreement, so we'll have that available for you to sign. There really aren't changes.
No?
It's just the little back and forth between NDOT and the railroad. So.
Okay. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The next item is the 2024-2025 street paving bid recommendation. We did receive our notice of our grant award. 5 road segments were removed from our program by NDOT for various reasons. So I have adjusted the quantity for award and milestone. Both bids were complete. There were no issues with the bids. Milestone was still the low bidder at $2,830,260.36 based on the revised quantities, removing 5 road segments. And I would recommend award in that amount. I'll have the contract documents together, and we'll get all those signed and get moving if approved.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Further questions?
Just, I don't recall hearing Milestone before. Have we worked with them in the past?
Yeah,
on these
so
projects?
Milestone bought out Walsh Kelly. So
Oh, okay.
Oh.
anything that used to be Walsh Kelly is now Milestone.
Okay.
I didn't know that either.
They have not been bidding on a lot of our projects in the last year or two, but I think they're starting to come back, and they're putting in more bids for us, so it's appreciated.
They did some paving for us at the treatment plant for our phosphorus project, did a nice job.
Okay, all right.
They're paving Monroe right now.
Yeah, they're in,
They're-
Oh, they're the
NDOT's
ones doing
contractor
Monroe?
for Monroe too.
All right.
Can't wait till that's done. Any other questions? Did this come in, I know sometimes we put the engineers, but did this come in about where we thought it might, or within range?
It's a little high. It
It's
was a little higher
high.
than we had hoped, but it's not significant. No.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And then you should have a map. There was some discrepancy on who owns this property. And the railroad does not believe they own it, NDOT's not sure they own it, but Passion, who's the contractor for Indiana Avenue, is looking to have a laydown yard, and this is kind of a good location for them. We can do one of two things. We could either use a use a property permit that would go through the Board of Works, but usually that's a short-term, close the street for a event, something like that. I would maybe recommend, if the board allows, I can issue them a right-of-way permit. Again, we don't fully know that all of this is our property, so I would issue it based on, them also getting approval by entities that would own a portion of this too. So if the board would like me to, I'll move forward with a right-of-way permit and allow for Passion to use the area, really it's the area under the overpass by Lake Street as their laydown yard for storage of pipe and material.
So I move we approve the right-of-way permitting
We're under.
for this location.
Okay, I'll second that.
So this would basically just construction staging
Yeah,
during the project.
yep.
And you're okay with it?
I'm okay with it, yeah. I think I wanted to bring it to the board because it's a little bit different where we don't even know we own the property, but to the best of our knowledge, any piece of it that we own, I think we can
Give them the
approve through a
permission.
right-of-way permit, but I wanted to have the boards okay on that too.
How long will this be for?
2 years.
Well,
Significant.
I'm just thinking
So-
through, oh, sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Well, I was gonna say, well, it's obviously gonna also be then subject to potential other owners.
Exactly, yep. Yeah, I'll have that as a condition of the permit.
Okay.
And really thinking through, like, where else would the staging be? I mean, for an Indiana Avenue
Yeah.
project, it-
Yeah.
Kind of tough.
I
It'd be
sort of think of
right.
another spot that would be better than kind of under the overpass.
Yeah.
For
I think
land
they
space.
might want to use a portion of the former Bernanke's greenhouse area, and that'd be more on the south side, but that's gonna be,
Oh.
that'll be a challenge because they won't be able to, start early or anything because of the residential area around it.
And that's privately owned property, right?
Yeah, that would be, yeah, and that might be a better area, say, for their construction trailers or something like that, where they're not moving a lot of material in and out.
Heavy material, yeah, okay. The only one comment and concern that I would see here with this location, based upon the drawing, is just sight lines for traffic from Madison kind of turning right there.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, it
just-
can be
Yep.
tricky.
yep, I can add that as a condition also.
Okay.
Good point.
I mean, because it's a little bit of a tricky area, right, in terms of sort of
Yeah,
kind of around Big C. I mean, it's a little bit of a, not really a blind spot, but it's tough to see with traffic
Yep.
if it's moving in with the sort of the unusual.
bridge piers and
two
everything in
different
there, yep.
Intersections right there.
for sure.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And you are presenting Tucker's?
Yes, Tucker is at the progress meeting for Indiana Avenue for me, so I will present for him. So first, we have Hunter Woods pay application. This is HRP Construction. This is the sewer extension for Hunter Woods, and pay application number 2 in the amount of $247,817. Recommend approval.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Do you know what percentage of completion this one is?
That would be, let's see,
Or
they are nearing completion on this, so they're about 60 to 70% complete on billing.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Park Street?
So the next one would be the North Park Road sewer extension. So these are two separate contracts based on kind of how everything had to happen. This is for Reith Riley Construction. Amount due is $412,000. $429.97. Recommend approval in that amount. We do have $867,502 remaining in the contract. There were some issues out there that Reeve Riley's working to address associated with their proximity to some new water main. But there's a lot of contract left to make sure that we're getting that corrected. So I would recommend approval in that amount.
So moved to approve.
Second. Further discussion?
So what would, this would represent what proportion? So it's about a third?
Yeah, about a third.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And final sidewalk pay.
Yep, so this is the final pay application for our current sidewalk program that's kind of wrapped up. It's for Pavey Excavating in the amount of $16,686.20. This closes out that contract, and I would recommend approval.
Great. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
So
Questions?
all completed to our collective satisfaction?
Yep, and Tucker was going to request to bid the next sidewalk program, but I think at this point in the year, we might need to go a little different direction. It might come back in December, so.
Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Any other public comment?
Nope, none.
No? Any other comments, Mr. Kosher? I would say that we got done on time, but the clock says 7:05, so I'm really unsure as to what we've done.
I think we're done on time. My watch says we're done on time, even though we started late because I got here late. Yeah.
I think we had a good meeting.
Between this and council, they moved a lot faster without the mayor present.
When women are in charge. All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Everybody have a great day.
Thanks.